Sydney Sweeney. I am here on the Sony backlot, and I'm going to take you into stage 14.
They said it couldn't get any wilder after last week's Snow White box office disaster. But Disney apparently had a different plan in mind, and it's sending shockwaves through Hollywood right now. News just broke that Sydney Sweeney is stepping in to replace Rachel Zegler as the iconic fairy tale princess. And the storm of reactions has been instantaneous. People are buzzing with questions, pointing fingers at Disney, and arguing over whether this is a genius move or another colossal misstep. Allegedly, Rachel caught wind of this switch and went off in a fiery outburst that's turning social media inside out. It's messy, unpredictable, and downright
But it's no really knock on her. If you did the autobiography of Malcolm X, would you cast Tom Hanks? If you remade Moana, would you cast a little Irish guy? No, you wouldn't. So that was off the top.
Yeah, I have a clip of it.
Oh, okay, great.
Her being a retard.
Okay.
It's no longer 1937, and we absolutely wrote a Snow White.
That laugh.
That is
not going to be saved by
You
the
wrote
prince.
it?
She's not going to be saved by the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love. She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can.
It just takes a beloved movie and makes it much more boring and much less realistic. The movie is really, really...
We're on the line, folks.
Bitch! The
Our
right to buy
reproductive
Cosby
rights.
sweaters?
Come on.
That's the face
Go
of a
vote blue.
serial killer.
And if you disagree with this sentiment, just hit the unfollow button.
Snow White is generally understood to be a very, very white person. And in this case, they decided, nope, no, that doesn't make any sense. So I don't think we're allowed to say that, right?
Forget any gentle introduction, this drama deserves a full spotlight. We're talking about a massive pivot in the midst of a potential studio meltdown. 1 minute, Zegler was front and center as the star of a reimagined classic. The next, she's rumored to be shoved aside while another actress swoops in at the 11th hour. People are screaming that this new Snow White fiasco is the
Original cartoon came out in 1937, and very evidently so. There's a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her.
Say it louder so your other eye can hear you.
So we didn't do that this time.
But the primary suffering is being sent in by my company to watch a children's movie as a single man, like 2 p.m. on a Thursday. That was the first part that was a little bit weird, but I was basically the only person in the theater.
Particularly see people who, look like me or are me playing roles like that. So it was definitely when it got announced.
White!
He wasn't a stalker, by the way.
Thing that was like trending on Twitter for days because all of the people were.
It's just her going, we need to no, you don't need, it's not your job. Your job is to entertain. You are paid to entertain. That's what this is. Also, it's very disturbing.
This movie was like you took the original Snow White and just put everything through this filter of liberalism. It wasn't through a filter of Japanese anime, it was through a filter of liberalism.
final straw for Zegler's once promising partnership with Disney. Everyone's got their popcorn ready, because if the box office flop wasn't enough, this recasting fiasco is about to define the future of how Disney handles legacy titles. So grab your seat and get ready. We're diving headfirst into the chaos. It's not just about a new face on a movie poster. It's the story behind the scenes.
People wanted to see this. Even the little kids who like Disney movies, even they don't seem to be turning up in droves for the movie because the movie is really, really bad.
So it was like
Those people.
very much this, yes. It
Yeah,
was this
the people that
We
awakening
need
of,
to educate the people that we need to love into awareness.
love them in the right direction.
And so I've got some bona fides here on being fair. The movie was absolutely terrible.
The battles people claim have been brewing for months, and all the jabs Rachel's been taking from critics who say she's too reckless with her opinions. Now, the studio's rumored solution is to let her go in favor of a star who has fewer controversies attached. Talk about a ruthless business move. Fans are choosing sides, tabloids are swirling with rumors, and the entire entertainment world is on edge. And the real question is, how on earth did it reach this boiling point? But that's not even half the story.
Every way that the movie differed from the beloved 1937 original, so from the casting to the class politics, the sexual politics, the regime politics, everything about it was liberal.
Disney never does anything halfway, especially not when it comes to its beloved princess properties. According to Inside Whispers, company execs saw the writing on the wall after last week's catastrophic Snow White box office slump. Instead of riding it out, they allegedly hashed a swift plan. Bring in Sydney Sweeney, a rising sensation known for her grounded yet intense on-screen presence to helm the revisioned fairy tale. The conversation was done in secret, they say, to ensure minimal backlash. But let's be real. When has Disney ever managed to keep a secret under wraps? From the moment rumors broke, social media lit up like a fireworks display on the 4th of July. People screamed about betrayal and disrespect. Rachel Zegler's supporters felt blindsided, accusing the studio of burning her on the very project she poured her heart into. Others called it a brilliant stroke of corporate cunning, saying Sweeny would reinvigorate the franchise after the humiliating opening weekend. The tension is thick, and it's fueling endless theories about mismanagement and chaotic brand damage. Control. Then there's the matter of how they decided to handle Rachel. Some claim Disney's top brass laid it all out in a tense meeting, bluntly informing her of the switch. If those accounts are true, the frustration on Rachel's end is no surprise. She'd banked on this role being her next big step toward cinematic royalty. And to watch it slip away so fast, in such a dramatic fashion, must feel like an absolute gut punch. Whether or not Disney jumped the gun, the ripple effects have turned into a tidal wave. People are either thrilled or horrified, and there's no middle ground in sight. But just when you think you know who's to blame, word on the street is that Rachel didn't simply roll over and take the news with a polite smile. Instead, she lashed out with fiery words that, according to some insiders, had Disney reps rushing to contain the fallout. It's no secret she's got a sharp tongue. She's been known to speak her mind without filter, and fans both love and hate her for it. But this time, the stakes are sky high. The claim is that she's furious not only about being replaced, but about being replaced in the midst of a public relations meltdown. Rumor has it, she went on a tirade that spilled into phone calls, private group chats, and even borderline savage. Social media posts, some of which may have been hastily deleted. Witnesses describe it as a shocking meltdown, fueled by the sense she'd been blindsided by executives she once praised for letting her put her own spin on the Snow White character. Now, it feels like they're yanking the rug out from under her, and she's not having any of it. Fans who'd eagerly defended her during earlier controversies felt torn. They'd been loyal, fighting off critics who said she was too outspoken and disrespectful of the source material. But now they see the same no-holds-barred attitude turned against the very company that gave her the spotlight. Could it be that this meltdown only gives Disney more ammunition to justify replacing her? Critics say she's playing right into the negative narrative. Supporters argue she has every right to be livid. Either way, the drama is fueling the entire internet, with meme pages and celebrity news outlets devoting 24/7 coverage to the fallout. Before the recasting drama even hit, the new Snow White film was already in the gutter at the box office. It wasn't just a mild disappointment, it was a flat-out catastrophe, according to early numbers. Pundits are calling it one of Disney's most embarrassing performances in recent memory. Critics trashed it for straying too far from the cherished original, while some hardcore Disney fans felt it was dull and uninspired. That's a lethal combination for any big-budget film that banks on nostalgia to lure audiences. Now, folks are connecting dots. They say the box office bomb directly influenced Disney's desperation. Allegedly, the studio spent a fortune on promotional campaigns, marketing Rachel as the fresh face who'd bring new life to the classic. But that didn't happen. Ticket sales plummeted. Social media got overwhelmed by negative reviews. Instead of generating the usual Disney magic, they got a fiasco. Insiders speculate that the next logical step was to salvage the brand, so they rushed a plan to bring in someone with less controversy. Enter Sydney Sweeney. Of course, not everyone blames Rachel. Some pin the failure on poorly executed storytelling, lack of memorable songs, or a misguided approach to the source material. But from a business standpoint, rumor has it that Disney's leadership decided to shuffle the deck and distance themselves from the negative press swirling around her. It's possible that if the movie had performed well, they might have stuck by Zegler. But with that disastrous opening behind them, the studio sees an opening for a pivot. This move, as hasty as it seems, might actually be Disney's attempt to recapture audience goodwill and salvage future profits. Rachel's history of candid remarks about the original Snow White story hasn't been forgotten. There's a rumor that her modern interpretation sparked a fan backlash weeks before the film's release. She championed changes that deviated sharply from the classic fairy tale, apparently ruffling the feathers of die-hard Disney loyalists. People latched onto quotes where she criticized outdated elements, implying the 1937 version was behind the times. Some applauded her honesty, but many felt she was trashing a beloved piece of cinematic history. Compounding the problem, a few Unguarded interviews suggested she was tired of the princess narrative. It wasn't exactly the best marketing approach for a brand built on happily ever after. Even fans who initially supported a new take on the story started questioning her attitude. In a world where nostalgic loyalty runs deep, that kind of polarizing stance can chip away at a film's box office potential. When the initial numbers came out abysmal, detractors pointed to her remarks as proof she never respected the role or the fans. All this background means Disney had multiple reasons to hit the eject button. If their new leading lady was actively provoking the fan base, then her position became a liability. And with the entire world aware of how badly the movie performed, the shift to Sweeny looks like damage control. Some argue it's too little, too late. Others say it's the bold move Disney needed from the start. Either way, Zegler's polarizing public persona has come back to bite her in the biggest way possible, fueling the narrative that she wrote, her own downfall. But hold on, there's even more going on behind closed doors. Beyond public statements, sources claim there were mounting clashes between Rachel and key figures at Disney. The drama allegedly started months ago. Creative differences, scheduling conflicts, heated arguments about script rewrites and publicity, stunts. Word is, every time she spoke out about the original film, Disney higher-ups got nervous. They'd hoped to position Rachel as a champion of progressive storytelling, not someone who publicly devalued the studio's classic IP whispers. Also suggests that she didn't see eye to eye with certain producers who wanted her to tone down her outspoken nature during interviews. But Rachel allegedly refused, insisting on staying true to her beliefs. At first, Disney might have admired her conviction. Over time, though, executives saw how quickly public opinion could shift when fans felt their childhood memories were under attack. That tension reportedly escalated in private discussions that sometimes ended in shouting matches or abrupt walkouts. As the release date approached and negativity swelled, those behind-the-scenes disagreements supposedly got even. Last year, it said some of her co-stars and production team members felt stuck in the middle, trying to maintain a professional environment, while Zegler voiced her frustrations. By the time opening weekend numbers came in, rumors say the atmosphere at Disney turned downright hostile. Everyone pointed fingers, from marketing to casting. And in that chaotic environment, it's no shock they'd turn to a big name like Sweeny to do damage control. Now let's talk about the new face of Snow White. Sydney Sweeney has been on a meteoric climb, snagging attention for her gripping roles that showcase raw talent and emotional depth. She's known for playing complex characters that resonate with modern audiences, and her name carries far fewer controversies than Rachel's. It's not a stretch to see why Disney might think she's the perfect reboot for a shaky franchise. She's garnered significant fan loyalty through her TV roles and balanced mainstream appeal with a hint of edginess, perfect for a modern fairy tale approach, according to insiders. In the public eye, Sweeny has had her share of rumors and tabloids sniffing around, but nothing that's come close to overshadowing her work. She's mostly been hailed for her vulnerability, intense performances, and relatable off-screen persona. If Disney's aim is to pivot away from negative headlines, they might view Sweeny as the safer bet. She'll bring a new spark to the role, without some of the polarizing baggage that chased Rachel. Plus, the hype factor can't be denied. A big announcement about her joining a major Disney production could overshadow the dismal box office headlines if played correctly. For her part, insiders say Sydney's been negotiating carefully. She knows the stakes. Stepping into a role famously dogged by controversy is no small feat. But if she can turn this fiasco around and reignite interest in the Snow White brand, she'll land a permanent seat at the Disney table for years to come. Imagine the synergy. From a marketing standpoint, Sweeney's fresh energy, coupled with an apology-laced PR pivot from Disney, could set the stage for a rebound. And if audiences adore her performance, it might wipe the slate clean from the fiasco we just witnessed. But that's not all fans are talking about. Social media is a battlefield right now. On one side, you have hardcore Zegler supporters, people who admired her boldness, saw her as a strong new voice in Hollywood, and felt Disney betrayed her. They're slamming the studio for being spineless, arguing that they should stand by Rachel even through a lackluster opening. These fans say Sweeney's casting is a slap in the face, a desperate scapegoat move to blame the box office failure on the lead actress, instead of studio miscalculations. They're determined to boycott any Snow White re-release featuring Sydney. On the other side, there's a growing crowd excited about Sweeney's arrival. They're calling it the best possible outcome. They claim it's time for a new approach, that Rachel was too divisive and overshadowed the magic with her controversies. Tweets celebrate how Sweeny can finally give the movie a more authentic vibe, ironically referencing the idea that she's less willing to rag on the original. Classic. These fans praise Disney for pivoting quickly to salvage what's left of the Snow White brand. Adding even more tension, some are playing the blame game. They say Rachel's meltdown sealed her fate. Others insist the studio orchestrated drama to distract from the fiasco. Memes abound, showing Sweeny towering over a weeping Zegler, or executives exchanging conspiratorial winks in smoke-filled boardrooms. It's the internet at its wildest, and the flames of debate are being stoked by click-hungry commentators. Everyone's watching to see how Zegler responds next, fully expecting another wave of savage retorts. And that leads straight into the question on everyone's mind. So where does that leave everyone? With a bitter taste of how quickly fortunes can shift in Tinseltown and a blazing curiosity about what twists are coming next. The Snow White story is supposed to end with true love and a joyous awakening, but right now, it feels like the real-life fairy tale is stuck in a storm of betrayal, scandal, and never-ending rumor. Will Disney's new direction spell redemption or doom? The world's watching, and the final outcome might be wilder than anything you'd see in a fairy godmother's crystal ball. For now, buckle up. This roller coaster of revelations is far from over.